Hello, my name is Leonid, and I'm happy to present to you GoReplay. So, what are the worst issues? Issues which should happen only on production. So, your QA team is happy, everything is working as expected, you press the deploy button, but after a few hours, your users write to you and say that nothing is working. So you scratch your head and try to understand what's happened. These kind of issues are the worst, which can be. They cost you a lot of money. It's very hard to debug them and so on. And especially what can be even worse if such issues can be replicated only on production. So I know by myself that in some cases there are special kind of errors which can be related to the concurrency, to some user input data, or some stuff like infrastructure changes and so on. There are all the small bits of differences between the production and staging, which you unlikely will be able to replicate. So, what if I will tell you that there is a better way how we can handle this kind of issues and have a better confidence in deploys? That's why I've built a GoReplay. So what it is? Essentially, it's a QA tool which allows you to record your existing user activity and reapply it to your staging or test environment and kind of emulate production environment in very accurate way. It's a pretty mature tool. It's active for 7+ years. A lot of stars on GitHub, and we have a community trusted by hundreds of teams like Guardian, Hulu, Fever, Weather Channel, and so on, which you can read, and you can read some of the case studies on our website, and it's commercially supported. So how it works? There is no any magic here, and the idea is actually quite simple. So you have your service, and client sends some requests to it, gets responses, and so on. So GoReplay essentially is a daemon which sits on your machine together with your service, and it captures your traffic. It analyzes traffic on the network interface. It reconstructs it, records it to the file, or replicates it in live environment, on your QA environment. And essentially, the idea behind it is pretty simple. What if you can just record all the traffic you have and send it to QA environment with exactly the same timings, exactly the same data, and what? And additionally, you have access to middleware. So what if some of the data on your staging environment differs from the production environment? Like, for example, user IDs. You can have some simple middleware piece which does the rewriting, or in some cases, you even don't need middleware, since there are a lot of built-in ways to filter, rewrite your request. So load testing. So imagine a situation when you need to migrate from, let's say, AWS to Azure or similar. How do you properly estimate the number of resources you will need? None of the scientific frameworks for generating the load can actually generate load in the same way as your users do. There are a lot of different nuances, like different type of requests, different user input, order of this request, all these timings, which generate unique sometimes issues, sometimes performance bottlenecks in your application. So if you actually replay exactly the same traffic as from production, we're able to way more accurately replicate existing environment. And worth noticing that one of the key features that you can either slow down or speed up your replay speed. So if on your production you have 100 requests per second, you can speed it up 10 times, and you'll have 1,000 requests per second. So you can estimate how much resources you will need in advance. And the same, all the middleware stuff still working. And you can save your data to AWS tree or some file storage, or have some library of your traffic for the last week or similar. whatever you want, really. And another interesting feature is the monitoring. That essentially, let's imagine that you have some application which no longer supported, or even you don't have access to the source code, and so on. But you still need to understand how it actually works inside. So what we can do here? So GoReplay actually can be put on top of this application and listen for its traffic. And inside the middleware, we can analyze what kind of data coming out and in, and send this to monitoring tools like StatsD, DocD, log management systems like Elasticsearch, Logz.io, and so on and so forth. And worth noting is that GoReplay have access to all the details of your request, response, and so on. So additionally, we allow you, give you pro version, so which allows you to record replay directly to AWS S3, its security, bug fixes, dedicated email support. We have some support for the binary protocols, and we have a commercial license which allows you to do some changes to the source codes which you'll provide without publishing them. And additionally, we have also appliance license, which allows you to distribute your GoReplay instance to your customers. So feel free to read our website about the details, and don't hesitate to contact us. And we're happy to answer you any questions. Thank you a lot.